Paper 2, October, November 2020. Paper 2. Question 1. Algorithms usually consist of 3 different stages. One stage is input. What are 2 other stages? Okay. So this is basically question 1A. So those 2 stages are input, process, and output. Very simple. Okay. Next part. An algorithm may be documented using different methods. These include structured English, program flowchart, and pseudocode. State what a program designer represents using one or more of these methods. So basically, this is the solution of a program. Solution of a program in a logical, progressive, and expressive series of steps. So this is how it works. And if you like a proper version of it, so we can have a lengthy discussion about it. But this is basically, these all stages represent a solution to a problem in an expressive step-by-step way. Okay. So a program designer represents the logic, structure, and the flow of an algorithm using one or more of these methods. Each method serves as means to communicate the design steps and decision-making process involved in the algorithm, making it easier for others to understand, implement, or modify the code. Structured English, we know about it. In this method, the designer uses simple, clear English statements along with the basic programming constructs like loop, condition, sequence to describe the algorithm. It helps in conveying the logic and steps of the algorithm in human readable format that is easy to understand. In program flowchart, the program flowchart is a visual representation of an algorithm using standard symbols to represent different types of actions or steps, such as process, decision. Again, the same. In pseudocode, it is a method that combines the simplicity of structured English and the syntax, which resembles the programming languages. It is not a specific particular programming language, but it provides a more formal and detailed representation of the algorithm using constructs like loops and all. So let me put it down for you. But your marking scheme just mentions that it is a solution to the problem. Okay, so this is my version of it for explaining, and your marking scheme says, hold on, let me copy this. So they all represent a solution to the problem, as I said, expressed as sequence, series, steps, and all. So let's move on. So this was part B. Part C, programming languages support different data types. Complete the table by giving 4 different data types together with an example of the data value each. Okay, so programming languages support different data types. Complete the data by giving 4 different data types together. Okay, so part C. So just put any of the 4. That's not the big deal. Okay, so integer example might be anything. So data type is integer, value is 42, float. Float, we don't have float, so let's just put real. Real 3.14152, Boolean, true, and then string. All right, so this is your one of the possible answer. Now, part D, black box testing, file assignment array. So basically, a structure for the temporary storage of data. A structure for the temporary storage of data. So if it is a structure for temporary storage of data, it means that multiple data items means temporary storage means RAM, multiple data items means array. So this is array. A method that is used when the structure of the program is unknown. So if it is unknown, then a method used when the structure of the program is unknown. Means, what does that mean? When the program is being executed, how it is being executed, what is inside it, what are subroutines, how the program is basically broken down into number of pieces. So this is black box testing. We don't know about it. A method of setting the value of a variable, that is certainly assignment. A structure for the permanent storage of the data. So if it is temporary, it is RAM. If it is permanent, then it is file. Okay, temporary is in the RAM and it is permanent, it is in the file. Now the next part, E. So a pseudocode algorithm assigns values to 3 variables as follows. Okay, evaluate expression given in the following table. Expressions are these, and we have to answer those. Okay. Now let's evaluate one every time. One each in every go. So this is not flag B. So flag B is false, so it has become true. And flag C is true. So true and true basically is true. Okay. Then we have not. Flag B is false, or flag C is true. So false or true is true. If you apply not to it, it will become false. Okay, it will become false. All right, flag B is false or flag C is true. So false or true is true. All right, and we apply not to it. So it becomes not operator negates the value of false. So it is or basically. Okay. So we write true and evaluates to yes. Okay, and then flag A and flag B or flag C. Flag A is true and flag B is false, so it has become false. And flag C is true, so false and true is basically false or true is basically true. Okay. Then comes 4. Not flag A and flag B. So flag A is true and flag B is false. So result is false and applies not to it means it has become true. Okay, so it has become true. And then or not flag C, true or false becomes true. Okay, so that is very simple. So flag A is true, flag B is false, flag C is true. So that is how it works. So let me break it down for you. This is part E, part C, and then part E. Here we go. Okay, so I have actually done it one by one. Expression not, so results and evaluates to true. This is evaluates to false. This is evaluates to true. This is evaluates to true. Okay, now we have another part. Oh, no, not another part. This is question number 2. The following pseudocode is an attempt to define an algorithm that takes 2 numbers as input and output the integer of the 2 numbers. Okay, the algorithm needs to be amended to include following changes: input 3 values, ensuring that each value input is unique, output the average, output the largest. Write the pseudocode for amended algorithm. Okay, so now we have to write the amended algorithm. Okay, so this is basically how many 6 marks. Anything above 4 marks is considered, should be considered basically important. Beta आवाज बंद करो. Okay, so pseudocode for the amended algorithm is simple. This is part 2A. Okay, so input 3 values. तो हम क्या करेंगे कि हम 3 values को input लेंगे पहले. तो हम क्या करेंगे, declare करेंगे. हम करेंगे pseudocode for the amended algorithm that takes 3 inputs and output the average and the largest value. So ये हमारे पास हो गए 3 values A, B, C, and the largest is integer. Declare average as real. Repeat input A, input B, input C. Acha, basically ensure that each value input is unique. If A is not equal to B, and A is not equal to C, and B is not equal to C. So this is basically the generalized version. It will make sure that all 3 values are unique. A is not equal to B, A is not equal to C, and B is not equal to C. So this is basically all of it. Okay, so this would go on. We don't have to put so many ifs and all. So then we have to find the average. Okay, A plus B plus C divided by 3. So you don't have to put 0.0 there. So if A is greater than B and A is greater than C, then the largest value is what? A. Else if B is greater than A and B is greater than C, then the largest value is B. Else the largest value is C. This is, and if output the average is this, the largest value is this. So this is very simple. Okay, so simple algorithm. There might be another way doing it, even in the shorter way, but let's just. All right, part B, complete pseudocode expression in the following table. Use only functions and operators describe. Okay, so alarm output is alarm 1202. So basically we have alarm merged with 1202. This is right function. This is right function. Okay, so we will use either mid here or the what do we call it, right of the 4, or we can go for 7,4 with mid. So stepwise, maybe we have to find stepwise, just y, so we will use mid of it at 5,4, and then we have got 1.5 into value of 18. We have to find what? 18, value of 4, 18, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 1.5 into value of 4, 1, value of p. We would have to basically find the value of p, and then that would be 18. We won't use length. We won't use length. So this is basically 18 divided by 1.5, that is 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. See, basically this is 12. 18, answer is 18. So 12 multiplied by 1.5. So we have to actually find the length of it, and we will convert that length into basically the value of it, and then we will multiply it with 1.5. 27.5. So basically what we have to do is to put the string function to it. The string function converts any number to its string friend, and then 9/4, answer is 2. So this is, if we divide 9 by 4, so this will be, yes, so this is basically mod. Okay, so this is mod. So I solved it earlier, but hold on, I solved it earlier. This is, sorry, mod, not mod, div. Okay, so let's copy our marking scheme for this. We don't have to actually have our own version. This is okay. So this is this answer. This is the y is well answer. This is 18 answer. This is 27.5 string well answer. This is okay. There we go. Now, part C, a problem may be decomposed into subtasks when designing an algorithm. Give 3 benefits of using subtasks. Okay, so subtasks make the solution more better, easier to understand. Subtasks basically makes the whole bigger program understood well by anyone, and then subtask is useful when we have to reuse programs, when we have to reuse the part of programs. So subtasks are basically decomposition. Okay, so reusing is basically reusability. Breaking a program is basically modularity, and breaking also help us to debug and test easily. So decomposition, as we discussed earlier, were these. So let's see. So this is part C. Okay, so modularity, breaking a program into smaller ones, make it more manageable. Okay, reusability, subtasks often encapsulate specific functionality that can be reused in parts of the program, like a function can be called again and again and again. Easier debugging and testing. With the problem divided into smaller subtypes, is simpler to isolate and identify issue within the algorithm. Each subtask can be individually tested and verified. Okay, so your marking scheme says similar, so I'm not going to copy marking scheme. Now, part 3. Now this is a big one. A car has the ability to detect skid by monitoring the rate of rotation, the rotational speed of each wheel. If the rate of rotation of the wheel is not within 10% of the average of all 4 wheels of the car, the function check skid is being developed. The function will simulate real-time acquisition by prompting the input for the integer value in range 0 to 1000 inclusive, representing the rate of rotation of each wheel. Calculate the average value. Check whether any individual value is more than 10%, greater than the average, or more than 10% less than the average. Okay, hold on. Return true if individual value is more than 10% greater than the average, or more than the 10% less than the average, and otherwise false. Output suitable warning message. Write program code for function check skid. Okay, so write program code. So we are not going to write program code for it. We are going to write pseudocode for that rather. Okay, so because this is another version of computer science which is now obsolete. Okay, so let's just function. We would have to actually make a function. This one is question 3, and this is part A. And how many marks are allocated? There are many, I'm sure 8. So this is a lengthy one. Let's solve it. Hold on for a moment. Let me write my own version for it first. There we go. Okay. Function check skid returns Boolean, declare integer wheel1, wheel2, wheel3, wheel4. Okay. Or rather, we use a different. All right. Average must not be integer, it should be real. And Boolean. It is getting as Boolean. Output, enter the rate of rotation for wheel 1, 0 to 1000, input wheel 1. Output, enter the rate of rotation for wheel 2, 0 to 1000, input wheel 2. Output, enter the rate of rotation for wheel 3, 0 to 1000. Similarly for wheel 4, average is equal to wheel 1 plus wheel 2 plus wheel 3 plus wheel 4 over 4. Is the skidding is equal to false. And I'm sure that you have an idea that this is basically our flag. For each wheel in wheel 1, wheel 2, wheel 3, wheel 4, if wheel, we can do it this way or we can write it this way. Okay, so I am going to put, well, that is also a good one, but it might confuse you later. So this should be next. Okay, so this break means exit function, or this break means nothing now. Okay, so if wheel 1 is greater than average or wheel 1 is less than this, then is skidding is equal to true. And let's just copy this down. 2, 3, 4. And this time we will make it else if wheel 2 is greater than this or wheel 2 is less than this, then its skidding is true. Similarly, else if wheel 3 is greater than this or wheel 3 is this, or else if wheel 4 and wheel 4. Okay, so this is another version. So if you like to go a little pro, in that case, this will be fine. And if you like to go conventional, then this is fine. Okay, so anyway, you have to check each wheel if the average is, if the value of it is greater than the average and 10% plus, or less than average 10% less. Okay, afterwards we are going to check if his skidding is true. If just rewrite it like that, so that is also fine. If his skidding is true, then output this, else output this, return is skidding, and that's it. This is the end of function. Okay, so but there are 8 marks allocated for it, so you have to have a good idea of it. I see a little different code in your marking scheme that is making use of an array. Okay, rather than having different number of variables. So it says that function it will mark for function heading and ending. We get 1 mark for that. Declare local variables, integers. For 4 rotation values, we get 4 marks for that. Prompt and input for 4 values, we get 1 mark for that. Validate each input in a loop, we get mark for that. Calculate average rotation, we get 1 mark for that. Compare rotational value for each wheel and all. Okay, one thing that got missed is validation. All right, so validation, we missed out on validations, but you can put validation there. Okay, 0 to 1000. So what you would have to do for a validation is to put repeat here, output until wheel 1 is greater than or equal to 0 and wheel 1 is less than or equal to 1000. Okay, so if your value is in between these two inclusive, a loop will break out. We have an idea that the condition in repeat, if the condition in repeat until is true, it means that you have to get out. So this way you will be putting this validation around all of these 4. So this will actually give you 100% marks. They were asking here, I missed on it, but they asked here. Here, range should be 0 to 1000 inclusive. All right, next question. Give 2 sets of test data that could be used to test the function. Test 1, no skid detection, and test 2 is skid detection. Okay. So let's first make another copy of it, another version of it. Okay. Now, part B. We have to give what? The we have to give few values to make basically test data. Okay. Hold on. Let me write it down for you. All right. Two sets of data that can be used to test the check skid function. Test one is this: no skid detected. Value one is 600, 550, 652, 620. Values are within the range, so it is not basically making any trouble. In this test, the average of the four values is 605. If we apply the check for skidding, no individual value exceeds 10% range from the average. So the function would return false and output the car is not skidding. In this case, we would have 687.5. If we apply the check for skidding, the second wheel, all right, just the second wheel value 500 is less than 10% range. So the function would return true and output would be the car is skidding. You see, this is a generalized nature question. Whatever the test data that fits, you can do that. It's not just that value, which I have mentioned. Question 4. The following structured English describes an algorithm used to counter the number of odd and even digits in an input sequence. Initialize variables these to 0, prompt and input an integer. If the integer is not in range 0 to 9, go to step 7. If the integer is in the range, is an even number, then add 1 to even count, otherwise to odd. Repeat step 2, output same if the two numbers are if the same number of odd and even integers are entered, output odd. If there are more odd than in even integers, output even. If there are more even than the odd, draw a program flowchart on the following page. So we are not going to, I'll show you the flowchart from your marking scheme. Meanwhile, first let's write the pseudocode. First write the pseudocode, okay? Hold on. This one is 4A. Question 4A. All right. Declare odd count as integer. Okay, and we have initialized it that way. We should not, by the way. All right. So odd count is equal to 0. Let's make it proper. Even count is equal to 0. In as 0 as well. While true means this loop will go on until we kick it out. If input is less than 0 or input is greater than 9, we have to keep input between 0 and 9. Then we go exit while. If input mod 2 means what? If it is even, mod 2 is equal to 0, then even count is equal to even count plus 1, as odd count is equal to odd count plus 1. And that is how we go working in the loop. So this loop would work until unless you are basically not entering greater than 9 or less than 0. So when you like to get out of the loop, re-entering, you will basically be entering a value which is either greater than 9 or less than 0. Okay. So if odd count is equal to even count, then output same. Else if odd count is greater than even count, then output odd, else output even. All right. So that's it. That is very simple. This is a different version than your marking scheme. So there we go. This is your flowchart. So we have basically these two variables initialized. We input a number. If number is less than 0 or greater than 9, then we go out. Okay. this is a different one. Okay, so we are not going to basically make the same as it is given, but you should be practicing your flowcharts. Okay, so follow this. So whenever I would suggest that whenever you have got this flowchart thing, first you should come up with a pseudocode so that you could make the flowchart a proper one. Okay, so I'll be sharing this pseudocode with you so that you can use the pseudocode to generate the flowchart. Okay, get out away. Now, next question. Part B. The following pseudocode is an attempt to check whether two equal length string consist of identical characters. Okay, so what do we need to do about it? Complete the trace table below by performing a dry run of the following function when it is called with this. Okay. Now we have to follow this. Basically, you see, the input is smaller one. इसका इतना कोई लंबा चौड़ा वो नहीं होगा. Sub, compare sub and bus. Okay, so this is 5 marks. State the value returned. Okay, what is the value returned? The value that is returned would be false. Okay, they are not equal. Basically, you have to compare. So let me give you my version of solution. Hold on. This is part 1 of question 5, I believe. 5B1. So final value is basically false. All right, so now what's part? Next part. State the value returned. Okay, so the value returned is basically part 2. I told you that it's basically false. Based on the trace table provided in the question, the final value of the variable return flag is false. Therefore, the function compare SUB and BOS returns false. This indicates that the two input strings sub and bus do not consist of identical characters. Okay. Now, next part. There is an error in the algorithm, which means that under certain circumstances, the function will return an incorrect value. Describe the problem. Give 2 test strings that would demonstrate it. Okay. So this is basically a tough one. You would have to actually pay attention to it. Basically, we will have to actually observe the algorithm. Hold on. Okay, the question, what we have actually function. All right. So the function compare is attempting to check whether 2 equal length string consists of identical character. The function compares each character of the string, first string, to the corresponding character of the second string. If the second string does not match, the function removes it from the second string. Okay, so this removes it from the second string. All right, so this is removed. If character does not match, the function removes it from the second string and then proceeds to compare the next character of the first string with the remaining characters of the second string. At the end of the comparisons here, at the end of the comparison, if there are characters remaining in the second string, over here we are checking if it is not equal to 0. The function returns false. Over here you can see it is returning false. indicating that the two strings do not consist of identical characters. One potential problem with the whole thing is that the function modifies the second string. It is changing the second string. You see, new is equal to new, second string, y comma 1, string 2 is basically becoming new over here. Replacing it with the modified version that may not accurately reflect the original string. If the input strings are passed by reference, which were not basically, they're not being passed by the reference, this modification will persist beyond the function call and may affect other parts of the program as well. Okay. So another problem with this approach is that the function does not handle situation where the input strings are not of the same length. If they're not of the same length. So this, you see, it goes for x is equal to 1 to length 1, for y is equal to 1 to length 2. So they are actually thinking that each character in number of characters in string 1 are same as number of characters in string 2. So this is another problem with this approach. Okay. So what I was saying was one potential problem with this approach is that the function modifies the second string, replacing it with the modified version of that may not accurately reflect the original string. If the input strings are passed by reference, this modification will persist beyond the function call and it may affect the output. So the next problem that we were discussing with this approach is that the function does not handle situation where the input strings are not of the same length. In that case, the function may compare characters beyond the end of the string, which can lead to error for unexpected behavior or maybe what do we say, crash of the program, runtime error. Okay, so let's see how we can use the test cases. Okay, so let me put it for you, test cases. So this is basically part 1, 2, 3 part test cases भी हमें डालने हैं. Third part, test case 1 और उसकी definition ये मैंने लिख दी है. अगर हम इसमें एक में hello लिखो, एक में hello लिखें तो expected जो है हमारे पास output आनी चाहिए वो false आनी चाहिए. The string have different characters in the second position. So मतलब यहाँ पे we have got E, over here we have got A. So the function removes A from string 2. However, this means that the comparison of the third character in a string when with the third character of the modified string is not valid. Since the modified string 2 is now shorter than modified string 1, this would lead to an error of unexpected output. Okay, so इसकी वजह से ये खत्म हो जाएगा. अच्छा, और इसके बाद हमारे पास जो दूसरा टेस्ट केस आएगा उसमें हम जो है इसी वैल्यूज इन्हीं दो वैल्यूज को हेलो और हालो को ले लेते हैं और इसमें हमारे पास ट्रू आएगा. एक्सप्लेनेशन इफ द इनपुट स्ट्रिंग आर पास्ड बाय रेफरेंस द मॉडिफिकेशन ऑफ द स्ट्रिंग 2 within the function will persist beyond the function call and affect the value of the string 2 in the calling. If another part of the program relies on the original value of the string 2, this could lead to errors and unexpected behavior. Okay, अब आपकी जो मार्किंग स्कीम है उसको हम लेते हैं. This is basically part 3. This is basically your marking scheme. They have used the inner for loop removes all character from string 2. They are basically saying the same. Okay, और in that case यहाँ पे हमारे पास error आएगा और दूसरे में हमारे पास same and mass है. ठीक है, इसमें भी हमारे पास गलत results आने की chances हैं. Now, describe the modification that needs to be made to the algorithm to correct do not use pseudocode or program code. तो अब हमें ये जो है ना वो modification जो है वो डालनी पड़ेगी. Hold on, let me observe that. So अब हमें जो है मैं इसका आपको मैंने कहीं लिखा हुआ था, let me find it. अपडेटेड वर्जन मैं इसमें शामिल कर देता हूँ. आप मार्किंग स्कीम अलग ऑब्जर्व कीजिएगा. Part 3, this is part 4. So अपडेटेड वर्जन मैं आपको दे रहा हूँ. होल्ड ऑन, ये सारा जो है ना वो गड़बड़ कर गया है. Let me correct it for you. They were using and for, let's just use next. Okay, so this is the modification. Whatever that we were discussing, I have modified it over here for you. All right, so I have updated it. अब आप लोग इसको बाद में फिर ऑब्जर्व करते रहिएगा बैठ के. Next question. State the name given to the type of testing that makes the use of trace table. So this is called dry run or white box testing. Okay, so this is dry run or white box testing. Dry run or white box. All right. Now, state two features found in typical IDE that may be used for debugging a program. So हमारे पास तो काफी सारे features होते हैं. Stepping, if you do remember, stepping, breakpoints, variable expression windows, syntax error highlighting, and all. We did that, so just script it. All right, so a hashtag is used on a social media network. A hashtag is a string consisting of hash characters, hash followed by one or more alphanumeric characters. A program is being developed to monitor the use of hashtags. The program will include two global arrays, each containing 10,000 elements. 1D array tag string of type string stores each hashtag in a single element. All unused array element contains empty string. The 1D array tag count of type integer stores a count of the number of times each hashtag is used. The count value that a given index relates to the element stored on the corresponding index in the tag string. So we would have two arrays, one string type, तो उसमें hash mention होगा और उसके line के अंदर हर एक के अंदर वो hash tag कितनी बार आ रहा है वो भी mention होगा. The content of the two arrays will be stored in a text file backup.txt. The format of each line of the file is this. For example, this part. Okay, the developer has started to define the module as follows. So the first module is initialize arrays. It will initialize the array. The content of the two arrays are stored in the text file. Existing file contents will be overwritten. Each hashtag and counter is stored in one line of the file as an example above. Unused tag string elements are not added. Unused were those which were basically null, double quotation without anything in between. Return the total number of unused. We will be counting. When we will be running a loop, we will also be counting in save arrays. So save arrays is basically taking the content of the array, putting it in the file, and meanwhile also counting that how many elements are basically tag strings are empty. Load array. Values from the file are stored in two arrays. The number of elements stored is returned. Write pseudocode for the module init arrays. Okay. So let's give me a moment. मैं थोड़ा सा इसको खुद देख लूं. Okay, so this is very simple. Since we have got only two arrays, सही है. और वो arrays क्योंकि हमारे पास global space में रखे हुए होंगे, where everyone will be using them. So ये तो this is very simple. So this is question 5A. Question 5 का part A. So this is basically very simple procedure. Init arrays for I is equal to 0 to 999. हमने सारे जो tag string में elements हैं उनको initialize कर दिया null पे और tag count को initialize कर दिया 0 पे and for नहीं लिखते हम next लिखते हैं. Okay, end procedure. ये हो गया. और इसकी मैं definition भी लिख देता हूँ. इसकी मैंने definition भी लिख दिया. ठीक है. अच्छा जी, अब आ जाएं आप. Write pseudocode for save array. So this save arrays will be saving to the file. हम देखिए सेव एरेज में क्या होगा कि हम सेव एरे को जो है वो पूरा पढ़ते चले जाएंगे और फाइल में लिखते चले जाएंगे और जहां पे नल होगा उसको सिर्फ काउंट कर लेंगे और उसको फिर हम बाद में आउटपुट कर देंगे एज इट इज ऑल मेंशन्ड हियर. So this is part B. procedure, save arrays, file open, backup.txt for output for write. And then declare unused as integer and unused is equal to 0. और हम इसके साथ एक i भी कर लेते हैं, comma I. और i को हम लूप के लिए यूज करेंगे, I is equal to 0 as well. So for I is equal to 0 to 9999, if tag string is not equal to null, then write file backup.txt. What are we going to write? Tag count I. Okay, comma tag count I. और हमें यहाँ पे टैग स्ट्रिंग भी डालना है, टैग स्ट्रिंग I merge with this. Okay, so इसने क्या बोला था, इसने यही बोला था ना कि हमारे पास कोई इसका जो स्ट्रक्चर है वो ये है कि पहले हैशटैग होगा, फिर हमारे पास ये होगा, इसके बीच में स्पेस है, इसके बीच में स्पेस नहीं है, और फिर काउंट होगा. हाँ, ये सूडो कोड हमारा वो होगा, प्रोसीजर नहीं होगा, ये हमारा होगा फंक्शन. सही कह रहे हैं आप, थैंक यू. फंक्शन रिटर्न्स इंटीजर. Okay, so let's put it in the same line because it is just one statement. And okay, these are two statements. We have to count as well. Else, since it will be empty one, तो हमने क्या नाम रखा था इसका, unused. Else unused is equal to unused plus 1. Next. Okay, so once we get out, we would have to basically close the file first. Close file, backup.txt, and then return unused and function. Okay. So let me put the explanation as well. Okay, so you people could review it. Now, B part हो गया, अब आ जाए आप C part पे. Write pseudocode for module load arrays. The module description is repeated here for the reference. You should assume each line of the code containing a string. There are no more than 10,000 elements in the file. और हम यहाँ पे इसको pseudocode लिखेंगे. Okay, यहाँ पे इसका pseudocode लिखेंगे. So this is part C. The number of elements stored in the array, the number of elements stored in the two values from the are stored in the two arrays, the number of elements are stored is returned. ठीक है. Okay. So this is function load arrays, expects nothing, returns integer, open file, backup.txt for input this time, or for read. Okay. Declare number elements as integer, num elements is equal to 0, while not end of file backup.txt do read file backup.txt into, let's say, line. Declare line as string. Okay, so now we have read it in the line. Hashtag is equal to null. Count is equal to 0. I is equal to 2. While you would have to read the whole string now. For I is equal to 1 to length of line. Okay. This character is equal to mid of line I comma 1. I comma 1. If this character is equal to, then exit for. Okay. All right. So hashtag is equal to hashtag merge with this character. So hashtag is building. And next. All right. So then what we have to do, number of elements stored in the array values from the text file are stored in 2 arrays. Okay, now we have to pick from the right side. Okay. All right, so while not end of file for I, okay, now number of elements. Tag string array index. We have to initialize our index as well. Is equal to hashtag. Count the length is equal to length of line minus length of hashtag minus 1. So this is basically, we have got this length of the number of hashtag appearing. String to number, right from the line. All right, so we count it. Tag count array index is equal to count, array index is equal to array index plus 1. Now, end while. All right, so close file, backup.txt, return, we should make it array index. Return array index and end function. मैं अब इसकी एक्सप्लेनेशन भी यहाँ पे डाल देता हूँ, आप लोग इसको पढ़ते रहिएगा बैठ के। ठीक हो गया, ये इसकी मैंने डेफिनेशन भी डाल दी। अच्छा जी, अब आ जाएं लास्ट पार्ट पे। 8 मार्क्स का क्वेश्चन था, सो दिस इज इट, डन। ऑलराइट,